Jey Uso chooses Gunther on Monday Night Raw. Jay's double entrance, which is the new thing. Let's run that back. Jay's running it back. He goes up to the rope. He's in the ring. He's celebrating with the fans. He goes outside. He gets on the table. While he's on the table, the camera is shot from the audience. So we see just the audience's heads, and towering over them is Jey Uso, yeeting with all of them. And we hear Pat McAfee and Michael Cole say, Jay, look out. We don't see what he needs to look out for. But all of a sudden, he disappears from the table, and we see that Gunther, of all people, has destroyed the entrance that we have gotten so used to seeing, the entrance that has been the focal point for what is this, like the third week in a row that Jay is coming out and starting the show with his entrance. And now Gunther ruins it. He gives him the beating and the thrashing of a lifetime. Leaves him laying. And by the way, he said, I'm going to make your life a living hell, dude. And he called him a mascot. I love that language. You're a mascot. You're not a wrestler. And Jay, as he's clutching his ribs, trying to find the will to keep on going, grabs the mic and he says, I don't know if I should be doing this or not. But, Gunther, I'll see you at WrestleMania. And boom! There we have it. The winner of the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match, Jey Uso, has chosen Gunther as his opponent at WrestleMania. The first official match of WrestleMania 41 is Jey Uso versus Gunther. Now, as I said, Gunther has literally promised. Now, he said, if you pick me, it's going to be painful. This is what's going to happen. Gunther has promised, now that Jey Uso has picked him, that every single week, from the early part of February to the later part of April, Gunther is going to make Jey Uso's life a living hell. There will be nothing but beatings for Jey Uso as far as Gunther is concerned. There are two priorities that Gunther has. Number one is beating up Jey Uso. Number two is ruining Jey Uso's life. And that's going to be what Jey Uso has to deal with going towards WrestleMania. And I think the fact that, we have live television now every single week. In the old days, you could say, we're announcing this right after the Royal Rumble, this is going to be the match. And the bad guy could tell the good guy, I'm going to make your life a living hell. It could be two beatdowns. You didn't have main event guys interacting on television every single week, but you do now. So what's going to happen when Gunther has completely dedicated himself to destroying Jey Uso? Jey Uso's on Raw every week. Gunther's on Raw every week. Are we going to see a beatdown every single week? Is there going to be a moment where it looks like Jay's going to come back? Is Jey Uso going to be able to have any other matches between now and WrestleMania? Is Gunther going to have any other opponents? Maybe somebody comes to Jey Uso's rescue at some point, and we end up having sort of a mini story for Gunther, so he has one more title defense before WrestleMania. I don't know, but listen, when Jey Uso announced that Gunther was going to be the guy, there was a huge response in the audience. The audience is still, that's why sometimes the internet is representative of the audience, and sometimes the internet is just doing what the internet does. Sometimes you have to listen to the television show and go, okay, there are people that are speculating upon whether or not Jay should be main eventing WrestleMania, upon whether or not Jay should have won the Royal Rumble. But odds are at least 50%, if not more, I'll give it 51, of the people that are speculating as to whether or not Jey Uso should have won the Royal Rumble would buy a Yeet t-shirt if they were in an arena. If they went to an episode of WWE Raw, they'd buy a Yeet shirt. And they might buy it in pink or red or orange or blue, whatever is available. But these are grown-ass men that would buy a shirt that said Yeet. And who is good enough, is charismatic enough, has a deep enough connection with the audience that they can make a grown-ass man buy a t-shirt that says Yeet on it? Only Jey Uso. Only. I think that with that big reaction, and with the fact that we've been promised this story that will take place over the course of weeks and weeks and weeks, I said, and it's complicated now. At some point, I'm going to have to make my WrestleMania card. Once we get some more matches, I'll try to start kind of predicting what match order could be. Because I said after the Royal Rumble, even though they've said main event, they always say main event WrestleMania at the Royal Rumble. But that doesn't always mean they're going to go on last. And I said before that I could see Jey Uso not going on last. That said, Jey Uso, by the rules of current day WWE, has already main evented WrestleMania once. Jay and Jimmy versus KO and Sami Zayn was the main event of night one of WrestleMania 39. The fact that Jay's already done it once. The fact that we now know, forget about everybody else, we're telling a story that's going to go over the course of 9 or 10 weeks. And I think you don't have to make the decision now. You could kind of gauge where interest is. But is it possible that Jey Uso builds up such a head of steam going into WrestleMania? Because, it's like people go like this. Wow, you can't do a WrestleMania match we just saw on Saturday night's main event. Hey, Dumbo, like that's the whole point of this match, is that he already has lost to Gunther. The whole point of this match is that he's lost to Gunther and we don't think he can do it. The whole point is he had to win the Royal Rumble only to choose the guy that he knows he can't beat. And this is going to be the last chance he gets to possibly beat him. This match is a different match if he didn't lose to Gunther already at Saturday night's main event. That's the whole point, okay? So, you did Hogan and Andre on Saturday night's main event, and you did it again at WrestleMania 4. This is what we do. What do I got to teach a class? Now, I know this is not Hogan Andre. I understand. But still, my point stands, as it always does, because it's my show. I think that there is a real possibility that we get to a place where there is so much interest in this story that it could, because it's so good guy versus bad guy. It's so fan favorite versus monster. It's so David versus Goliath. And it's such a scenario of I never thought this would happen. And if you really go back and you step out of this day-to-day mentality that we all have as fans and look at it from the big picture of year over year, all these times we've wanted Jey Uso to win the big one. All these times. SummerSlam against Roman Reigns. Saturday night's main event against Gunther. The Intercontinental title, the King of the Ring. All these times we've wanted Jey Uso to win the big one, going back to the beginning of the Bloodline and the I Quit match with Roman Reigns. All these times. We might finally get it. And if that realization sinks in for those of us that have been watching as long as we have, and for those that haven't, if that realization becomes contagious, I think you may be dealing with something that we can at least discuss as a main event.